now that I have this SX42 going, this S38, up here this SX62, and then way down below an 8R40 receiver, I needed some way of powering them neatly and then distributing my antenna to each one of these receivers. Now, in terms of power, what I had to do was figure out I had at least 4 receivers. Each one is on a shelf. So I figured, fine, we'll subdivide 2 industrial power strips. Each one of these will be able to handle a large Hallicrafters receiver and whatever else I want to connect up to it, including the power supply for this camera. So those have been attached, and they're attached in here to the to a socket in the workbench. Then I had to work on antennas, and this is what I wound up doing. Each one of these I figured was going to need use 3 terminals, so I needed 3 wires. A1, A2 are ground, which I also call what Zenith used to do, A, Z, and ground. And I thought, well, I'm going to have to buy a whole bunch because each one of these is going to need an A, a Z, and a ground. And then it dawned on me. Extension cords. I bought a bunch of outdoor extension cords. I stripped off the wire. They have 3 terminals, A, Z, and ground, which would be, of course, hot, neutral, and ground, and just use those as the antennas. They've been routed down to their respective places, and then these go to another section, which I'll show you in just a second. They go here. This is a plug board. Each receiver is represented here, A, Z, and ground. The FM antenna, which is behind the workbench, is represented. And then also I have a hard ground, which would be like for the body of an old style telephone, and also extra plugs in case I wanted to try to do something special. Like on some of these radios, you could combine on the back a little tag between A and Z, put these 2 together, and then do ground. Little things like that. Now all of this is attached by extension cords all the way to my main antenna terminal, which is there. The 2 on the bottom are for the FM. The ones on the left, going straight up and down, are, if I can show you, way up there, the big Cliff Dweller shortwave antenna, which is a big length of pipe I made back in 1989. And that is the main shortwave antenna. And now I'll show you how this whole shebang works in just a minute. Now, as it stands here, the SX42 is attached to the antenna system, and it's hooked up by way of FM, which I can demonstrate here. Like so. Now, I want to go to shortwave. So what I'm going to do first, I'll switch down the band switch to the shortwave section. What I've got to do first, disconnect the FM. That's done. Here's your A, here's your Z, here's your ground. So here's what we're going to do. Since we need shortwave, that's going to be probably this one. hook that up. In fact, I can show you. If you listen real carefully. Dead quiet. Now we got sound. Do we need the other part to get better sensitivity? Don't know yet. Plugged in Z. Goes down a little bit, so probably not. Do we need a ground? Here's this. Nope, it goes down too. So maximum sensitivity is with this. This, by the way, is the extra circuit if I wanted to combine these two together. In fact, I can do that right now. Let's combine A and Z together. Really doesn't do anything, but I can go around here on the bands. And the other thing is, the characteristics of the band will sometimes change to where I can take this off, put this back in. Maybe it does need a Z. Now the sound doesn't go down as much, so it does need that extra sensitivity as you go up and down the band. Now we'll go to AM. Now we're on AM. Same basic layout.
5 yards. Brian Langford Johnson, 15 for 121. Each of them have scored a touchdown.
As you just saw,
and now it's
boom,
Purdue defense.
sensitivity just went straight up. Just by taking out this one clip.
On the offense.
See?
Over to the other side of the
football. See if it needs
at this stage of the game, it
doesn't do very much. This is ground that goes to my telephone.
And you got to keep playing within yourself.
J.D. Dellinger, again, a high short kick.
Volume went down. Yes, I do need it. So, plug that in. See, the lovely thing about this is you can play around with it. You can make it do anything you want to.
That's where Illinois will start this drive, 1st and 10.
Let's mix some stuff up a little bit.
Illinois had a couple of fumbles.
I'm going to bring the SX... No, I'm going to bring up the S38. That's this receiver up here. Let's bring that up. Now, I can't remember which one it is on this plug board. It's probably going to be 1 or 3. It's probably going to be 3 if I had to guess. So, first thing I'm going to do, bring up the radio. Let that warm up. Take out our AZ and ground. Everything is wide open now. We'll know for sure if everything's working. I'll bring it to AM. We have everything up. Let's see what happens here. So let's start. 3 is definitely the one. So let's turn our volume down. Plug that in. Plug into the antenna. Boom. There we go.
Hand it off inside.
All that's there. Shortwave. Bring that up. And we'll bring in a station. Okay. Do we need a Z? Plug that in. No, that all just blacks it out, so don't need it. Now this one, it's dangerous, so it's an AC/DC set, so you don't use chassis ground. Can I just use virtual ground? Will it work? No, don't need it. This is all you need. Totally fine. Now, we're going to do one step further. Now we're going to do SX62. So, let's bring ourselves down again. Bring up our plug board. It's almost like an old operator's telephone cord board. It's the beauty of it. I originally was going to try switches and that, and I thought, this gives me a lot more freedom. So let's do this. I'm going to use FM on this. So if we need FM, Let's take our A, Z, and ground out. Go back in. We can plug this back in again because it's a transformer set. That's going to be safe. We're on receive. Here we go. Reception to FM. Here we go. Okay, we can barely hear it. That's fine. Take a cord. Number 1 is the SX62. Plug in. Now we plug into the FM. Doesn't do very much. Let's go to Z. Plug into FM. Doesn't do very much, so it doesn't want to use dipole. But
we'll get you registered Monday morning at 7:10 on 95.5.
Nice and clean. As you can hear. Working quite nicely.
You walk in.
Okay, fine. Now, let's do shortwave. Pull out the FM. We leave our A and Z's there, and I'll go on ahead and put the ground in place. Switch to the international shortwave band, go to AM reception. Bring up our volume. And we'll start tuning. Okay, there's one. Bring up the A. Boom. See how loud that came out. Do we need a Z? Will it improve reception? Let's see. Doesn't really do that much. How about ground? Yeah, it kind of makes it go down a little bit. Do we need this? Doesn't really matter. But all the same, it's all hooked up. It's sensitive. It's able to bring up all sorts of stations, as you can hear. In fact, let me bring this up. There we go. Let's bring out that. Pardon the reflection. You can hear. Sensitivity's there. And depending on what you need in terms of your antenna, just unplug, plug them back in, you're all set to go. So, there you have it. This is my listening post now. All 4 receivers are running and controlled by this little cord board.